Dr. Peter Glidden, your steadfast advocate for naturopathic medicine, holistic healing, and a free medical market. Thanks for your time. Today we're going to dip our toes in the water of the importance of the symptomatic expression of the illness and the difference between the naturopathic understanding and the MD allopathic understanding of disease. And this is why we have a chronic escalation of disease, because the medical doctors have a juvenile, quite frankly, unrealistic understanding of the nature of disease, and that's why they fail at the treatment of chronic disease. Remember, what they're good at is trauma care, surgery when it's necessary, military field medicine, the complications of childbirth, and dentistry. That's their wheelhouse. For everything else, it's a failed methodology, and this is one of the reasons why. All right? It would perhaps be prudent for us to have a working definition of health if we are attempting to make people healthier, right? Health is the ability of a living organism to experience stress and remain symptom-free in a state of dynamic equilibrium. So when the shoe fits, you don't feel it, right? So when you're healthy, everything works the way that nature and God intended it. Your brain chemistry is good, your joints are good, your stomach's good, your heart's good, everything's good. And then we experience a stress. And oh, by the way, life is a great big bowl of stress. There's all kinds of stress. There's microbial stress, right? Bacteria. There's weather. There's aging. There's pollution, crap in the air, crap in the water, crap in the food, consistently eating all of the wrong food, not enough nutrients. These are all stresses to the human body, mind, psychological stress, political stress, financial stress. Life is a great big bowl of stress. Now, when negative stress hits the body, there are only two possible outcomes. The body is going to defend it. The stress is going to bounce off, figuratively speaking. We will remain symptom-free, or the stress will get through our defenses and destabilize the system. So when we experience a stress that's too much for the system to handle, the stress impacts the system becomes destabilized, and the system then compensates and generates a symptom or two or three. So the weather changes from fall to winter. The system can't handle the stress of the weather change. There's too much toxic accumulation of crap inside the human body. The human body becomes destabilized by this stress and develops symptoms. So you get fever and chills and a sore throat. You're lethargic. You develop a cough and a runny nose. All right? All of the symptoms of classic influenza, for example. Now, normally what happens is that after a little while, the body will rally, and as the body reestablishes balance through the self-regulatory mechanisms, the symptoms disappear. The same thing happens if you cut your finger. You become symptomatic. You have a laceration on the finger. It's red and it's sore and it's painful. There's an open wound on your finger, and then the body fixes it. The body reestablishes balance. As the body reestablishes balance, the symptom goes away. So 7 days later, the finger's cured. All you had to do was put a Band-Aid on it and keep it from getting infected. So this is how the human body works. When we are healthy, we are symptom-free. And then we experience a stress that's too much for us to handle. The stress destabilizes us and we become symptomatic. Most of the time, the body's able to fix itself. However, what's happening more and more and more frequently is we get stressed, we become destabilized, we become symptomatic, and then we get stuck. The body can't fix it. This is why people go to the doctor's office, because they have persistent symptoms that their body is not fixing all by itself. The only problem here is that the medical doctor practicing allopathic medicine is trained to believe that the symptom is something that must be opposed, right? Allopathic medicine is oppositionally defiant. So, stressed, destabilized, symptomatic, stuck. And then the medical doctor looks at this situation and prescribes an antibiotic, an anti-inflammatory, an antidepressant, an anti-anxiety, an MAO uptake inhibitor, a proton pump inhibitor. They prescribe a medicine, the intention of which is to aggressively suppress the symptom. Okay? Which may, on its face, seem like it's a smart idea, but it in fact is a juvenile idea. It's a bad idea because it's based on a juvenile understanding of how the system works, how the living body-mind works. So, holistic physicians, on the other hand, are trained not to suppress or manage the symptom because this is not curative. Because remember, the symptom is what the body, it's uncomfortable and it's a problem and it's dangerous, but it's what the body's doing to deal with the stress. So when you suppress the symptom with a drug, it's like kicking the crutches out from underneath somebody who's walking with crutches. When you do that, the body must fall further off balance and develop another symptom somewhere else. It must. It has to happen. This is a closed system. And so the unintended consequence that the medical doctors are blind to of the suppression of a symptom is a weakening of the system and the presentation of more symptoms in the future. For example, you have a toddler who develops eczema. Now, they have developed eczema most probably because they are eating wheat and they have developed an allergy to wheat. They have an allergy to wheat because they weren't properly breastfed. They may also have been vaccinated, and that compromised their immune system, compromised their digestive tract. Now they have a leaky gut, and the wheat protein provokes an inflammatory response on the skin. Eczema is also directly related to deficiencies in omega-3 essential fats, But the medical doctor doesn't know this. So the medical doctor sees the toddler with eczema, and they put cortisone cream. Finally, the body gets exhausted trying to generate a symptom on the skin. The cortisone cream effectively suppresses it. The skin clears up. Oh, it's a cure. It's a magical cure. Thank God for cortisone. But it was not a cure. It was a suppression of the organic symptom, which then forced the body to fall further off balance, and then a couple of months later, the child develops asthma. The symptoms always progress from the outside to the inside. Generally speaking, it goes from the skin to the mucous membrane, to the joints, to the digestive tract, to the heart, and then to the brain. And this is why the preponderance of childhood illnesses are skin and mucous membrane, skin and mucous membrane, skin and mucous membrane. And this is also because the child's vital force is very high and very strong. This is also why people that, are psychiatric cases in the mental institution and the mental ward, they rarely get physically ill. They think that they're Abraham Lincoln. They smoke a pack of cigarettes a day, but they never get bronchitis. They never get anything because their body has fallen to its final area of symptomatic expression. Okay, now this is somewhat advanced holistic medical theory. But nonetheless, the point here is that when you simply suppress a symptom, which is what the medical doctors are trained to do all of the time, which is why pharmaceuticals exist, to suppress the symptom, you will generate more problems because it's just a juvenile way to address the situation, quite frankly. Now, what do every branch of holistic medical treatments do instead? Well, so we've stressed, destabilized, symptomatic, and stuck. So holistic medical treatments attempt to push the system back into a state of balance. Because what happens when the system recovers its balance? The symptoms disappear. So the asthma goes away, the eczema goes away, the migraine headaches go away, the depression goes away, the arthritic joint goes away. It heals itself. Now, chiropractic, right, pushes the system back into balance through a certain method, and Ayurvedic medicine has its own method, acupuncture has its own method, homeopathy has its own method, naturopathic medicine has its own method. All of the branches of holistic medicine attempt to restabilize the system into a state of health through different mechanisms. But this is the goal. We treat the person and not the disease. You know, there are some generic things that everybody needs to do. Everybody needs to drink water every day. Everybody needs to breathe oxygen every day. Everybody needs to put warm clothes on when they go out into cold weather, right? There are generic things that everybody needs to do. Everybody needs to nutrify their body. Everybody needs to stop eating food that's gumming up the works. Everybody needs to detoxify their system prudently. And everybody should attempt to rid their body of parasites. These are generic things that everybody needs to do. Now, sometimes when we apply the generic things, the body gets stronger and stronger and stronger. And then when it becomes destabilized by stress, it fixes itself easily. About 17% of the time, however, even though somebody has done all of these things, they will, because of weaknesses that they have inherited from their parents, become destabilized by a stress, become symptomatic, and then become stuck. When this happens, you would be wise if you went to a holistic medical practitioner. Because if you go to a medical doctor, all they're going to do is suppress the symptom, which is going to make your system weaker and weaker and weaker. Your body's going to fall further off balance and then develop another symptom, which the medical doctor will think is completely unrelated to the suppression of the original symptom because they're not trained to think like this. Oh, and by the way, you wouldn't believe the things that myself and my colleagues have seen our patients recover from. There is a point of no return. There is a point beyond which the body can't fix itself. I mean, I don't know of anything that's going to grow a finger back if you cut it off in a buzzsaw, heaven forbid. There is a point of no return. And I used to think that I knew where that was when I first started practicing. But having seen the things that I've seen people recover from, that I have no idea where the point of no return is. And my recommendation is treat yourself holistically. Treat yourself holistically. Use the allopathic medical interventions as the absolute positive last resort. Absolute last resort instead of the first resort. This is the wise way forward, which most people are completely unaware of because we've been under the jackbooted heel, quite frankly, of the medical monopoly for over 100 years. And people are completely unaware of the distinctions that I have just taught you. I hope you learned a thing or two here. There's a lot to learn, by the way, in this regard. And I have it all lined up for you at my website, which is here. I'm going to make it a little bigger, leavebigpharmabehind.com, right here, leavebigpharmabehind.com. Check it out, please. I'm begging you. Go to my website, look at my information, become a subscriber. You have a 24-hour free window, by the way, to look at all my information before you commit to the purchase process. At $24 a month, you've got to be kidding me. It will be the best expenditure of money you have ever spent for your health care, because the information on my website is science-based, clinically verified, holistic healing therapeutics that myself and my colleagues have actually seen work over hundreds of years of combined clinical experience. Make sense? Does to me, and it beats a poke in the eye with a sharp stick. Thanks for your time. Thanks for your trust. Thanks for your open-mindedness, which is a rare commodity these days, especially when it comes to medicine. I am now and always will be, God willing and the creek don't rise, your steadfast advocate for holistic health, naturopathic medicine, and a free medical market, Dr. Peter Glidden. See you around campus.